All right. How are you feeling today? Doing good? All right. Well, I love it. This is our third summit. That doesn't mean we're done with 3 years. That means we're kicking off year 3 of how many years? 7. Thank you. That was good. I'm a teacher, so there you go. So excited to have all of you here, and the energy in the room. It's going to be a great day with various breakout sessions. And this year, we decided to have a folder with a map, with a schedule and a map, and that is going to help in terms of confusion. So we are so grateful for all of you being here. We're grateful for Zion's for letting us host it here again. And so I'm going to have a few words, and then I'm going to call up Jennifer Smith from Zions Bank to do a formal welcome. But I have a few thoughts before, but I wanted to use the UEN, the Utah Education Network, has been a great partner through the years, and they did this for us early on, and I love that. So I want you to think about why you're here today. And so I thought of one word, and then I searched for some pictures. And so let me show you some pictures and see if you can think about or figure out what word I was thinking about. Here's the first one. These are just pictures that came up, probably Shutterstock or was one of those. Even that one. So do you think of what word I might have said? I'm going to give it to you in the next photo. I really think that you're here. You may have a variety of purposes, right? But I think you're here because you have hope. And I'm already getting teary-eyed. That's not a good thing. Or because you want to have more hope, right? Am I right? This is why we're here, is that we want hope for better things, hope for change, hope to just do the things that make sure that our girls and women and their families are better thriving. And so think about that as you go throughout the day today. And if you're in the room and if you're listening, there's 100 or so online as well, you are what we're calling a Bolder Way Forward advocate. And what is an advocate? Some people get nervous about that word, but I love that word. It's a person who publicly supports or recommends a particular cause or policy. So I'm going to call you advocates. That's what we're calling you. And the next slide. If you are an advocate, that makes you a leader. Now, I still have every week women saying to me, well, I'm just helping, but I'm not a leader. And you know what I say to them? That's crap. You are a leader. Because leadership is defined in many ways. I'm a leadership professor. I'm just going to give you one slide. But the best definitions of leadership include 4 things. It's a process of influencing a group towards a goal. So when I had 4 teenagers at home and tried to get them to the dinner table, is that a process? Is that influencing? Is that a group? Is that a goal? That makes me a leader just because I do that. So if you are trying to influence your home, in your community, in your church group, in your women's organization, I'm looking at various people that represent all of those, or even influencing your neighbors on one side or another. That means you're a leader. So I want you to look at me and just say, I am a leader. Go.
I am a leader.
One more time, louder.
I am a leader.
Okay, I love it, I love it, I love it. So I just want us all to, and men too, just put that in our identity, right? So also, I want to thank our sponsors, Clyde Companies, of course, Zions Bank, Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity, AARP, and of course, the Utah Women in Leadership Project at Utah State University. And we really are hosted and connect with both the John M. Huntsman School of Business and USU Extension. So I'm just going to go super quick, but just want you to note our champions. I won't read all their last names, but Scott, Lieutenant Governor Henderson, Abby, Ryan, Nubia, Kristen, Becky, Sui Lang, Mary, some of them are here, Tessa, Tom, Charlene, Byron, Senator Milner, Rena, Clint, Nikki, Corianne, Jennifer, who we'll talk to you in just a second, Lisa, James, Paula, Ruma, and Jared. So would just want to give a shout out to those champions and their important role in this movement. Thank you. And then I do want to, and today, throughout the day, there will be, I believe, about 18 or 19 state legislators who will be in the mix and being here. I know there are at least a few here already. If you're a state legislator, could you stand so we can, where are you? Come on. Okay, there are a few here. Thanks. And then if you are an elected official in counties or municipalities, can you stand as well? Thank you. And there will be more throughout the day as well. Just want to thank all of these folks for their service and their support of the Boulder Way Forward, just being here. And then I won't have time today to go through all of the, you'll see the rotating slides were at the beginning. There'll be some at lunch, so you'll be able to see leaders in the movement. But also wanted to thank my full-time and part-time staff for all the work that they're doing. Pay attention during the lunch, and you'll see some of the committees. I think they were on this morning as well, plus all the partners and investors. And then later on, we'll talk and thank the impact teams. Will have some sessions in here, and county leaders will have sessions as well. So just a special thanks. I won't give all of those notifications in person verbally, but just keep your eye on those rotating slides. And then I would love to have, people have come from all over the state, and I want to see who has come from the furthest corners. So are there anybody from San Juan? I'm thinking way down, and Washington County, Kane County. Okay, there's some hands raised. Okay, I don't know if there's anybody from Rich on the other hand. I think there's a car of 4 people from Duchesne and Uinta, right? Yeah, they're sitting together back there. Thank you. Thank you so much. And then just another slide or two before I have Jennifer give our formal welcome. We have had a lot of questions about, because we have different colors for Boulder Way Forward than UWLP, but just want to be clear here that we're called, the Utah Women in Leadership Project, we're called the backbone organization for the movement, and our mission has always been to strengthen the impact of Utah girls and women. And we do that through research and creating research-based resources, and then convening trainings and events, and then doing so many things through partners. We always have and try to elevate partners. And then just to be clear, the UWLP is housed with me as part of my faculty research role and my faculty societal impact work in the John M. Huntsman School of Business and Extension within Utah State University. And that is the place that's the primary base of support and coordination. Because we have different colors and everything, there's been some confusion. I just wanted to highlight that, to make sure you know that my staff and I are really doing a lot of work to support so many of you. And by the way, before I go on, we figure that there's about 6,000 people engaged now in Boulder Way Forward. And about, and about 270 leaders, co-leaders, or leader. I mean, that's a lot of leaders, and those are you in the room and others as well. And then we have 29. How many counties are in Utah? 29 county coalitions. And so thank you to everybody. So I would love to have Jennifer come up and give a formal welcome. I think we might have given your mic away. Okay. Is that on? Yeah.
Good morning. On behalf of Zions Bank, welcome to the Boulder Ways Forward's annual summit. It's so good to see many friends and many friends to be. There are hundreds. It's just what a sight to see all of hundreds and hundreds of women and men here to make a difference in the lives of women and girls in our state. At the Zions Technology Center, this is a place where innovation thrives. Today, it's a place where wisdom also thrives. Several months ago, a dear friend gave me this pin. And this pin says, "You are safe to be you with me." Several of my friends and colleagues are getting ready to celebrate the Pride Festival this weekend, and this is on my mind. What a fabulous invitation to be you, to be me. This center is not just a building, it is a sanctuary for bold ideas, unfiltered stories, and transformative possibilities. A place where every woman, regardless of her background, her identity, or her experience, can show up fully and safely. Throughout history, progress has often begun in spaces where women could speak freely, dream aloud, and organize. From the parlors where suffragettes strategized the right to vote, to the churches and college basements where civil rights and feminist leaders planned their next march, to the kitchen tables where mothers shaped their own definition of leadership, even if that was trying to figure out how to get all of your kids to sit at the table and eat, as Susan pointed out. These were safe spaces, carved out of necessity so women could be heard. Well, today our voices are heard. And we want more change so every woman and child can thrive. In many ways, this gathering is doing that as part of that lineage. The Boulder Way Forward is not just a name, it's a call to reimagine policies, workplaces, and communities where every single woman thrives, not just in pockets, but across the entire fabric of our society. We have so much to be grateful for in this great state of Utah. And the nice thing is we have a foundation for future success. At Zions, we believe innovation flourishes when everyone belongs and offers their unique strengths. And belonging requires more than an invitation, but it requires an intention. That's why we affirm today as a welcome, a safe place of safety and mutual respect and dignity for every one of you. So bring today your full voice, take risks, share what you've been holding in, ask those hard questions, extend generosity, get to know someone who will do this work with you. We are not alone. We are surrounded by leaders and change makers, and we are ready to rise together. Welcome to the summit.
Thank you. Thanks so much. All right. Well, I'm going to now give you a really fast update of what has happened during year 2. I won't start all the way to year 1, but year 2, and then some of the goals for year 3. And then you're going to have the opportunity, it's going to be a lightning round, to hear, and can I have my slides back up? Well, I might have to log back in, unfortunately. And I don't have my glasses, so we'll see. Yes, okay, without glasses, a really long password, so that's some good news. So I want to be celebrating, like I said, year 2, and then looking ahead, and then what I was mentioning is you'll have an opportunity to hear just a couple minutes from each of the 18 spokes about what they're doing, just very quick, a couple minutes each, and then we'll come back and have a few things at the end of this session. And then I'll walk ahead. So are you good? Are we good? Moving it forward? Okay. So I wanted to start, and this is on your handout as well. I usually do this at the end, and most of you have heard this, but I wanted to start today with this quote from Martin Luther King Jr. Every society has its protectors of the status quo and its fraternities of the indifferent who are notorious for sleeping through revolutions. Today, our very survival depends on our ability to stay awake, to adjust to new ideas, to remain vigilant, and to face the challenge of change. So I use this all the time. So some of you have heard this over and over again, but it's one of my favorite, obviously. And I think in some of the issues that we've been dealing with, particularly our violence rates that are unacceptable. High violence rates in terms of sexual abuse, child sexual abuse, sexual assault, domestic violence, those kinds of things. We buried our heads in the sand, right? We've been sleeping on some of these issues, and it's like we need to wake up, and you have woken up, right? In terms of not sleeping, but we have to make sure everyone else is aware of these things. So keep that in mind as you go throughout the day. So for those of you that have been here for the last couple of years, you've seen that bridge. And for those of you that are new, we've used that bridge as we're doing something here in the state of Utah that's never been done in another state. We're trying to shift to not just one thing, but how many spokes do we have? 8. Oh, you guys are good students here. We're going for it. Things are happening. We're going for it. But for the first year especially, and into the second year, it has felt like we've just done one step, one step forward to try and get across this raging river. And I felt like at least part of year 2, we are still on this bridge, right? But feeling a little more steady. What I'm loving about today and moving forward is that we can see further than we did before. We can see how to make this change. We're seeing, you spoke leaders and people engaged from the start. You're seeing a little bit more, right? I'm seeing some of you nod in terms of that. And you can imagine maybe we're on land again. I don't know how you want to do the metaphors. I love metaphors, so I have a number of those. And so this, I'll bring this slide back, but there may be different paths. But think about that. I studied out. I really, really feel like we've set the foundation and we're just now in a place of launching in a really big way, moving forward. I love this visual too. It's taken some work to get up. There's higher mountains, there's lots of stuff, there's rocks. But what are there on this slide that I love? My favorite flower is, what do you think? Yellow flowers color. And so anytime I have a yellow flower, that means there's hope. There's hope and there's things happening and we can be really excited about moving forward. I also have used the visual of, now this is not outdoors, this is indoors, a bowling alley. Have you heard me say that? And that is our reminder of ourselves that we're not telling 270 leaders across the movement exactly what to do. But in order to have us go in the same direction, we're like bumpers in a bowling alley. So you can keep moving even if the ball is really, you've seen a 2 or 3-year-old like roll it so slow. Sometimes you do have to go out and kick it, right? A few times, not that many. But it often keeps going, and that's what we're trying to do is believe in people, move it forward, but keep us aligned in this systems thinking. Also, some people call us an initiative, Boulder Way Forward, some a movement. I switch words depending on the audience. Which word am I going to use today? Movement, yes I am. And a force for change. So I searched some pictures. But just a reminder, in addition to these things, that change, powerful, powerful change, also takes consistency, courage, and sometimes quietness, perseverance, relentlessness, strategic choices, and not or. So we have this powerful, but there's also this, you just keep moving. Are you with me? I mean, does this make sense? Yeah. So just a few reminders. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. You've seen the video or heard me speak, or heard so many speak around the state. National and statewide studies continue to show that women and girls in Utah are not thriving in critical areas. There's some areas we're doing better than others. And if we're serious, we need to create change in 7 years. And how many years is that now? Because we're 2 years in? 5 more, okay? We're by 2030. And this book really was the one that gave me my inspiration on moving this forward. But this whole movement is the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. So we've been doing stuff, lots of parts and pieces for years and years, but we need still more of those parts and pieces. But this Boulder Way Forward is to bring it together to try to get us to shift more boldly and better together. And you know this model, I won't go through it. 5 categories, right? How many spokes? Now this is, not everybody knows this next one, but you'll get to know it at lunch. How many impact teams? There's 12. 12 impact teams. How many county coalitions? Okay, you got it. And many more things around that. And you're going to hear again from all 18, just very briefly, so you can get that feel again of what's happened. And then year 2 highlights. So let me go pretty quick. I'm starting with this one for a specific reason. One of the things in the last year is that we've hosted over 30 sessions for leaders across the movement to get into deeper change. And we've been using the crucial influence model. So all the spoke leaders and coordinators, sub-spoke leaders, working groups, impact team leaders, and some of the counties, we haven't gotten to all of them, have looked at that and have participated in this training. And this was a reminder for me, no spaghetti. You're like, what is she talking about? So what I do is talk about, you know, when we do societal change, we kind of like sometimes throw spaghetti against the wall and see what sticks. We don't have time for that. It's not about doing more stuff. It's about doing the right stuff and being strategic. So that's what we're doing. And then the reason I had this slide first is that we have been working so hard on figuring out, the research tells us that if you don't know where you're at and don't know where you're going in terms of numbers and the results, that you're not going to get to where you want to go. So we have really been working with, and it's taken, some spokes were done earlier than others, but as of today, we have all spokes with bold goals, which is huge. And then this is the piece that's really taken, taken a while. But Bree, where is Bree? She's standing over there. Bree is over here. She has worked her magic with so many of the spoke coordinators and leaders to get the data dashboards. So as of today, and it took a little longer than we were thinking, but figuring out goals and what we're going to change and then how to measure it, Anybody understand that that's like a big deal? Okay, that's a big deal. So you could clap. I think not for me though. All right. So Bree and others have just been so critical in this effort. So we have data dashboards that are tracking the progress towards 2030. And we're gonna start seeing real changes, I think, in the next year. We've been setting the foundation. And so our fall study, we've done it twice. We're tracking the perceptions, and you can search, anybody can search by county and all kinds of things there. And then we're tracking those over time. We're tracking specific goals, and you'll hear more about those in the breakout sessions. And so all of those are a big deal that we've gotten done this year, and we're feeling so good to have this secured as our foundation. The models and the research continues to say, again, if you don't know the results, if you don't know where you're headed and what numbers you want to get to and all of that, that we're just going to be doing nice things, and we do want to do nice things, but we also need, I'm trying to not do but, and we also need, that's a hard habit, to actually change. We need to have our pay gap decrease. We need to have violence decrease. We're not just doing little things. We need to protect our families, our kids, the women in our lives. Too much violence. We've got to do that. We need to increase women's entrepreneurship and all kinds of things here. And so we're tracking the progress. Also, want to acknowledge, and you'll hear about this, the awesome work of our spoke leaders and our spoke coordinators and everybody working in each of the spokes. So that's been a real win this year. There's been a lot in this year, too, of work in the impact teams as well, and this is a list of those. And you'll be able to, during lunch, sit in circles and learn more about the impact teams. So we've also, I wanted to pause here because some people are not clear about the impact teams. So I just wanted to, so you know the spokes are the main areas with goals. Now the impact teams are on the rims, and that means the impact team, like race and ethnicity is one, veterans is another, women veterans, but you can do those, you want to make sure that you pay attention to 50 plus thriving is another one, to all of those in the work we're doing in all 18 spokes. Does that make sense? So there's a connection with all of those. And those impact teams are creating resources and advise the leadership of Bold Your Way Forward, but also the general population, increasing awareness and representation in their own communities, and then connecting people to resources and research as well. And then our county coalitions work across all of those 29 counties and give a kudos to Deborah over there. Is Amy over there too? I don't know where Amy is, but she's in the back. Okay, those two. Amy's got 9 counties. Deborah's got 20, and they're awesome, and they would be the first to say that they're so grateful for all of the co-leads in every county that have been stepping up to do the work. I'm seeing Karen right on the front row for Utah County, and Cynthia, and I could start noticing everybody who is doing the work, but the county coalitions want to thank them for their progress, and those that were engaged early have handled a lot of ambiguity at trying to figure out, what do we do? We're in a good place now. Things are clearer moving forward. And then just a little note about, when you look at the goals, it's not just the spoke leaders and at the spoke level. It really is the county coalitions and impact teams and companies and cities and towns and campus communities and women's groups and on, right? That's what it is. So lots of work moving forward, setting the foundation. And we do have committees and starting to have some communities as well that I want to highlight. Those are going to be on slides at lunch. And so what are our wins? Well, this is a big one. We started out in silos. I don't love these pictures, but that's the best I could do. The spokes were separated from the impact teams, county coalitions. It wouldn't have worked another way. But this past year, that was our biggest thing of this last year, is to start merging all of them so they would connect. Does that make sense? That's a big win. Not that it's perfect, but it's happening. But we had to have those in silos. So again, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. And then also some wins for year two. We worked with UEN on videos, but also created 2-pagers for every single spoke. And so even if you have a neighbor that's passionate about one topic, make sure they know the 2-pager, because they can do it. And if they just speak to their other neighbor about it, like, did you know what's happening in entrepreneurship? Do you know that the Women's Business Center of Utah has resources? Do you know our rates of rape and sexual violence? Do you know this is a problem? Just that makes you an advocate. Any of that. We just share those kinds of knowledge with other people. So we have these resources. We've also started growing our partners. We have about 325 partners, and my goal, can I just say it out loud? Our goal, my goal, hopefully it's our goal, is to be next year at about 1,000 or more. I mean, the whole Boulder Way Forward is systems thinking, that you bring everybody together who's doing work in every element, right? So we can shift together. That should be pretty easy if we really dig in and pull in those partners. So we have key partners and change partners. Some people are both. Our key partners are people that are engaged in some way with that. Change partners, you can be a change partner just by being in your company, doing good things for your employees, helping your employees know that there's issues they can read about, anything like that. So, and we also have our first, and we have 2 other cities coming on this month. We haven't pushed it much, but we have Boulder Way Forward cities, towns, and counties coming on board. And so that's going to be moving forward. But thank you to Lisa Watts-Baskin, who took the lead for getting that in her city. And then we just launched a couple of months ago our movement-wide awareness campaign. And that just means that almost every spoke has months, or secondary or primary, that in terms of domestic violence prevention month or awareness month, when we hit October, that it's not just the coalition or the shelters or the organizations that are trying to raise awareness. It is all of us, from Boulder Way Forward through all the counties. So there's more voices at it. We can't just have the people that work in the programs be the voices. It has to be all of us. And so look at that. That was a big win. And then we started more in year 2, amplifying partner efforts and resources, and then some new interactive courses. Male allyship, they're starting to get out there. They're interactive. You do them in groups of like 3 to 6. So 1 for men, there's 1 for women. And we continue to support through UWLP with research reports. And Colleen, raise your hand. Colleen and I work with research on the team, and many of you have been involved as well. And podcasts, social media, impact teams just finished What Can I Do's 2-pagers as well. So these are wins, and then fundraising efforts are starting to move as well to provide support for leaders throughout the movement so that they can have coordinators and so forth. And so overarching, this is a slide I put up last year. Year 1 was to build the basic structure, secure information. 2, I had 3 things listed in my slide for last year, and I think we got get to those, connect and expand. So connect and align the Bolder Way Forward components. That's the merge that I was just talking about. That was big in year 2. And then start raising awarenesses of the issues and the resources. And that's starting to move forward. I feel like pretty good about that. And then activate the counties, companies, families, individuals. We started that, but year 3 is going to be huge in terms of that. So that's what we put for year 1 and year 2. And so year 3, I haven't massaged these, so there's 12, but the last two are overarching. But just to give you an idea, 1, continue strengthening the connecting parts of the movement. Make sense? Yeah. Enhance partnership. This makes sense, right? We just talked about recruitment and engagement. Expand and fortify the movement-wide awareness campaign. I just need to check my time. I need to finish up. And then raise the collective awareness of Utah around each area of focus. Focus. So this is making sense to you, right? That's where we're going in year 3. Continue conducting and publishing the research that we're doing. Create a movement-wide dashboard. We haven't done that. The whole movement, a dashboard to show how things are all shifting. Very specific. Bree and I are going to be on that. Strategize and enhance marketing and communication efforts, and enhance the usage of the curriculum and courses, and build systems and processes that better support informed, research-based, thoughtful public policy. And then create various communities for Bolder Way Forward leaders, members, and advocates to help more Utahns engage. And then overarching the last 2, really construct funding opportunities to better support the movement of volunteer leaders and of members across the movement. And this is really important, to ensure, and this is super important today, that all of the work elevates the principles of civility, dignity, kindness, connection, and respect. Sometimes when you hear the word movement, you think of, protests and different things, and there's spaces for various things. But we want to continue to be in the space of kindness and respect and dignity. We have to do it that way to be able to lift girls and women and to lift families, and that includes boys and men. We cannot do this work without men. So thank you to you men who have shown up today. That is very meaningful to me.